I'm Tebowing it. I'm getting down on my knee, thanking the Lord for this podcast. Because we're about to enter some fucking evil, the evil dome.
I thank the Lord every day for this podcast, Mike.
I thank this Lord every day for Evil Dead.
And Army of Darkness.
Yeah, Army of Darkness.
So
hey,
tell me about Evil Dead.
Well, let's do
and
our
then
intro.
Tell me about Evil Dead 2.
Hey, sequel fans.
Hey.
This is Mike.
Chad.
And today is our episode of Army of Darkness that I've never been more excited to talk about something before. And not just Army of Darkness, but Evil Dead 2. So we're starting off with our feelings and thoughts about Evil Dead 2. Share those feelings and thoughts since this was your first time seeing it, Chad.
Yeah.
It still boggles my fucking mind that of all the movies in the entire universe that you have seen, you have not seen this one until today.
I know.
You've seen Army of Darkness? I mean, everyone's seen Army of Darkness so many times. If you had the Sci-Fi Channel, the Comedy Network, you've seen Army of Darkness.
And I can't even say I've seen Army of Darkness so many times. I've only seen it once or twice.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So your feelings for it are going to be really fresh, and it's awesome.
And different.
I guess
because I saw the second one for the first time last night.
I know. You're totally going to be into this in a completely different perspective. Yeah. And I'll be honest, like I said to you earlier, having to look at different things to talk about these movies, I'm seeing it in a completely different light. And it's not a negative light. But Army of Darkness, I feel like, is going to enter the negative side of my feelings about it. Like, I feel like right now I could say I used to think it was an 8, but right now I'm feeling it's more like a 6 or a 7.
See, and I'm going out on a limb, but I would say it's a little premature. But, I mean, I would give Evil Dead 2 like an 8.5.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. I mean, it's a fucking fantastic movie. Yeah. It's so fucking good. And there's so many things that I will talk about because I took like crazy amount of notes.
It's conflicting, though, because it's an hour and 25 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
And it feels like a 2-hour movie.
I wish it were 2 hours. I wish there was so much more going on.
I mean, let's give the sound effects credit.
The chimpanzee sound effects. Yeah. Like literally the sound guy had the easiest fucking job in this movie. So I read on IMDb trivia on Evil Dead 2 that this is not a remake or a redo. It's really a sequel. And I do not feel like at all that Evil Dead 2 is a sequel. I feel like it's 100% remade because Evil Dead was so good, they had to add a little something extra to it, and I think that's humor. Because the first one is NC-17 on HBO Max, which so is Showgirls. So Showgirls and Evil Dead are in the same category of rating system.
How did that happen, by the way? How did Showgirls ever get an NC-17 rating?
I mean, just because it had a teenage star in it is the only thing I could think of. Huh. She went like crazy nude in it. But like as far as what is available today, that's rated R. I mean, it's a hard R at that point. It's not an NC-17.
Right.
Kids, I would say, is definitely an NC-17 movie because these are adults, but they're portraying 15-year-olds.
Let's not talk about kids and bring me down, okay?
Okay. So I think this movie is 100% a remake because the first Evil Dead ends with the evil bursting through the door, getting Ash.
I love Kids, people. Don't get me wrong. We're talking about the movie Kids, in case some of you are unfamiliar. That probably came off a little dark.
Let's
not talk about kids and bring me down like I'm Freddy Krueger.
Yeah. I just want to get to them, but I can't by court order. But yeah, I don't think Evil Dead 2 is a sequel because there's nothing to continue it on because the movie starts out with Ash and Linda going to the cabin, and yet he did act like, oh, I've done this before. Like, did you get that feeling? Kind of like, I've been here before, right?
Kinda.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely felt like he was like hinting towards that, which would make it a sequel, but it's a different Linda. His two friends aren't there. The other two from the first one. And the first one was just straight up and I'm going to call Evil Dead the first one, because this is Evil Dead 2. But the first one was like way scarier. I mean, are there scenes that you remember from the first one, such as a pencil being stabbed into someone's Achilles?
No.
I mean, dude, it was fucking nuts for that time, with the makeup, with the gore, the sounds. I mean, dude, great fucking filmmaking for the time. You know, like you could tell these people were passionate about making this movie, whether it was good or bad. And it was such a fun story. Evil Dead 2, the same. I mean, because essentially the premise is the same, except this one, Linda dies right away.
Yeah, which is great.
Oh my God, right?
Yeah.
Let me pull up some notes here.
You think she's gonna get nude,
and then she doesn't. She gets
her head chopped off.
Yeah. Linda. This is the thing. I thought that was funny. Linda asks Ash, "What if the owners come home?" Yeah, we're just. What did he say? Oh, I said, you mean he didn't book this place?
Yeah. There were a few lines. Can you think of any? Because there were a few I'm like, oh, I should write that down. No, I'll remember it. And now I can't. I can't remember.
Like
it was.
Ash lines?
Any lines from the movie?
I mean, besides groovy, no.
No.
And okay, so we could talk about that part. That was when the movie became kind of funny, don't you think?
Is when what?
When Erin, I think her name was, the professor's daughter, when they're like, you know, we got to go into the cellar to get the pages. And then Ash gets all fucking geared up, goes into the sheds, they fucking make all of this fucking shit for the chainsaw to go into his hand. And then he goes, groovy. Yeah. Like, that's when it started getting funny and like over the top ridiculous. I feel like that's when it turned from like a great fucking horror movie that someone shot with like limited budget to this is just a joke now.
Well, Ash just has that comedic face.
He totally does. Totally has that comedic. Remember when they were all fucking losing it? When Ash and all the fucking things were losing it? Yeah, totally. Yeah. Or the close-up scene of his face.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, dude. That shit was like... I mean, he does have that face for comedy.
I wanted to tell you, so my 15-year-old...
Yeah.
And we were...
You got to tell us about the watching of it.
I told her we were going to watch Evil Dead 2. And she said, have you seen the first one? And I said, I don't know. Maybe. She's like, well, why are we watching the second one if we haven't seen the first one? And I said, well, Mike said it didn't matter.
Well,
so
I mean, think of it in this way. If Evil Dead is the first one and then Evil Dead 2, you know, why is the story like different? You know, they don't defeat the fucking evil. They don't send it through a portal. And then that brings the next movie to where Ash is fucking in medieval times.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so many fun things. When they got the pages.
Well, hold on. You don't have to defend yourself right now. Hold on.
Oh yeah,
I told her we needed to watch the movie.
Yeah.
She said cool. She was down. I told my youngest daughter, my 9-year-old, she should probably charge her phone up and, you know, play some games with the headphones on or something while we watch the movie.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because I wasn't sure. I had never seen it, but I just assumed probably not something you want your 9-year-old watching, right? Anyway, so she comes over to the couch. I'm sitting there. All of a sudden, she climbs up onto the couch at the beginning of the movie and just kind of gets up next to me. And the movie starts playing, and the look of fear
oh my God
in her eyes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I traumatized her, but let's just say I got up to get us all some bowls of ice cream, right? She couldn't even eat her ice cream.
Oh, it scared her that much?
It scared her pretty bad, but hey, that's good, right? You need that scare.
I was 5 years old the first time I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah,
you know, I was introduced to horror movies at a very young age, and I don't think it traumatized me. I think it made nightmares scary, and I mean, who doesn't? I mean, I'll be honest, nightmares are kind of dope.
Yeah. Well, and I tried to make it better. I was laughing at moments.
Right.
I was like,
yeah.
oh, wow, look at the makeup that they used. That's fucking incredible. I didn't use those words, people. Okay. Sprucing it up for the podcast.
Yeah, don't.
Let's get this straight.
Don't call the ASPCA or the CPS.
But yeah, no, it scared her pretty bad.
Did she finish the movie?
Even as we're yeah, she did. She was
nice.
a trooper.
That's awesome.
Although I think she just didn't want to go into the other room after seeing
all alone.
Yeah.
Turns every single light on the way.
Yeah,
out.
about 25 minutes into, I'm like, honey, you can go downstairs and play your game. She's like, are you crazy? I'm not going downstairs now. Get my head chopped off.
I mean, you did tell her it's fake.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's
Incredible
Kool-Aid,
makeup.
it's not blood.
This is funny. Oh, look at how they did that. Hey, that was a great shot. Blah, blah, blah.
I mean, it definitely doesn't have the amount of humor Army of Darkness has.
Well, let's just say it exceeded what I was expecting as far as
that makes
violence.
Makes me so happy.
As far as violence goes.
Oh my god!
I was like, wow.
The severe violence on IMDb. Yeah, when they get the fucking pages and Linda's going over like, oh, this guy is prophesized to destroy the evil, and it's like, don't you think? But I fucked up and turned it off while we were recording. I don't even remember where we left off. I don't remember what we missed out
Shit
on.
happens. You will, because look.
Oh shit! Yeah,
the lights on that camcorder right
there.
there.
Oh yeah. All
so
right.
if nothing else, we'll just have a low quality version of
bummer.
what we have now.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, that's perfect. That makes me feel slightly better. But we're gonna start Army of Darkness, and we're gonna get on with it, and come back and talk about that shit.
Let's do it.
We're back. Army of Darkness 2. Army of Darkness 2. Yeah, I'm just throwing twos out all over the fucking place. Two. It's 2, remember? No. It was
Hey, my favorite part of the first one, which I forgot.
Yeah.
Was when the severed head bit onto his hand, and it was like 5 minutes of him trying to get this fucking hand, or the head off of his hand, rather.
All the things that Evil Dead 2 had, Army of Darkness did not have whatsoever. That's another thing I say a lot, whatsoever.
No, I said I would put Evil Dead 2 at about an 8.5. I'd go as low as a 6 on this. Not
for Army of Darkness?
Not to say it wasn't enjoyable.
No, it's a completely different movie in terms of like, look at the Deadites in Evil Dead 2. You know what I mean? Like they were kind of fucking scarier. These one they went straight comedy with Army of Darkness.
Oh yeah.
Which is nothing. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Because I don't want people thinking that we're like, we hate Army of Darkness, or like, what the fuck? How do you not like such a classic fucking movie?
Yeah, because I don't. It's
great. Exactly. But we just watched Evil Dead 2 yesterday. Yeah. And that in my opinion is a much better movie than Army of Darkness.
For sure.
But it's like I said, it's also a completely different movie. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking the whole time when we're watching Army of Darkness is Ash is almost like John McClane, thrown into a situation that he was not prepared for and overcame the situation.
Yeah. Like
he's that great of a fucking hero kind of character, and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Definitely deserves the praise that he gets for the role that he played.
Yeah, for sure. Like we said that while it was playing. Like it really is such an iconic character. Ash being in, like I said in that lost audio, the video games. There's so many. There's Bow to the King Baby, Fistful of Boomstick, and Regeneration. And I believe there's one more that I can't remember. Huh. And then there's a whole comic book series too. Like Dynamite put out an Army of Darkness book. There's Army of Darkness with, I believe, Red Sonja. There's Ash versus the Marvel Zombies. They incorporated him into the Marvel universe, where he basically ended up in that universe and had to, save the world, and he ended up, getting the Necronomicon, getting rid of the Marvel zombies, and he wakes up in a world that's like ours, but it's ran by werewolves. It's really funny, all the torture they keep putting him through. And then there was Ash versus Freddy versus Jason, which was supposed to be a movie, but they did it as a comic book, which was really cool. Freddy uses the Necronomicon to come back to life, and Ash is just fucking being a badass and taking over.
So I'm super curious because you mentioned some before. You said you wanted to wait until the podcast. I remember when I watched Army of Darkness when I was younger, it seemed like that S-Mart scene was much longer. Is that what you're talking about? Is that the difference between this and the other ending that you spoke of?
No, so there's a bootleg edition that I got a long ass time ago on VHS. It was really cool. Like, it had the sleeve you can take out and turn it around, but the sleeve itself was like a brown paper bag, and it was like bootleg Army of Darkness edition. And it had the deleted scenes and like the removed scenes and added back into the movie. One of the one-liners he said to Evil Ash was good, bad. I'm the guy with the gun in this one. I can't remember, but he said something different. It wasn't as good either. But the original ending was Mr. Pitt from Seinfeld, who plays the wise man, which I always fucking thought was awesome. Gives Ash that drop, take the 3 drops, say the 3 words. But he says each drop is like 100 years or something like that. Each drop equaled a certain amount of time, and he had to take X amount of drops to wake up in his own time. And he's like taking the drops. He hears a noise, loses count, takes a drop again, and he basically takes too many. And so what they did was they like put him in his Chevy inside of a cave, closed it off. He takes the drops, and then he like wakes up. His clothes are just falling off. He's got a huge ass beard, long ass hair. Opens up the cave door, and there's like Big Ben completely destroyed, and like all of London is like total like post-apocalyptic England, and he's like, I slept too long, and that's how it ended. And that would have been so cool to like create another like army Ashes in the future, but now he's got to fight the Deadites of the future. I don't look too deep into the knowledge of what the Sam Raimi was trying to go with, so I don't really know what the future was going to hold for that. But I'm like super glad that we got more Ash in the form of video games and comic books, and then the TV show Ash versus the Evil Dead, which we've talked about. I don't know. Did you ever see any of it?
No.
First season is all I've watched, and it was awesome. I don't know why I stopped watching it, so I definitely need to jump back into it. But yeah, Ash is just such an iconic character, and I'm like, I think they're doing another one.
Another season?
Another Army of Darkness movie.
Oh, really?
I believe so, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, which is going to be really cool. But in the terms of what we just watched versus what we watched yesterday, different movie, 100%.
Yeah, worlds apart.
The comedy was there. They took the cheese factor and just like turned it up a whole lot fucking more. Yeah. But what would we be without these great one-liners like, Hail to the King, baby?
Yeah, this was like Monty Python compared to what I watched last night.
Totally. Oh my God, thank you. Yes. It's like Monty Python, totally. Yeah. And then the first one is if like Eli Roth did a Monty Python movie. Because it still had the jokey, the humor in the first Evil Dead 2, which I'm just like so confused. I'm confusing myself in like terms of which is the first one, which isn't. The windmill scene, never liked it. I thought it was always just the worst.
Really?
Yeah, like some of it was really funny. London Bridge is falling down, but then when all the little Ashes like, my fair lady.
When they're pushing in on his nose, that's some of the worst special effects.
Well, what did you expect?
Just don't do it. That's what I expect.
If you can't, you shouldn't. No, I mean, it's one of those things where you could like totally fucking tell. It's like, it's not like, you know,
Yeah.
Does it look like they're driving or does it look like they're being pulled by a trailer? No, this is straight up fucking.
I mean, it might be better
editing.
than something you and I could do in my living room right now, but
100%,
not much,
yeah,
right?
No. But in terms of effects in the first one or Evil Dead 2, they're not there.
I don't get it.
They're not
I don't
there.
get it.
No.
Yeah.
No, there's so many.
Maybe that's why they had to call it Army of Darkness and not Evil Dead 3.
Right? Yeah. The amount of blood they used in Evil Dead 2 just spurting out of the walls, everybody Ash chainsawed was just like fucking gallons of blood. And I don't remember the amount of blood they used, but in the Evil Dead remake from a few years ago, did you ever see that one?
Nope.
So fucking good. Really fucking good. It's like they took Evil Dead and just, you know, modernized it with like new gore. It's so fucking cool. They throw a girl in the basement after she turns in the first one and in the remake, and someone goes down there to see if she's okay, and she's like fucking licking an X-Acto knife and splitting her tongue in two, and it's so fucking cool. But what I was getting at is they used like 600% times more blood in that movie than they did in Evil Dead 2 and Evil Dead.
So who plays Ash in that one?
There's no Ash. It's not a Ash thing at all. It's a brother and a daughter go to the cabin, and like it's a family cabin, and this nerdy guy that's with him comes across the Necronomicon, and he finds the tape player, and he releases the evil. No Ash. No one survives. It's fucking awesome. It's really good. I again, all my movies are packed away. I have it. I wish I could bring it to you to let you borrow, but if there's ever an opportunity, watch it. It's fucking cool.
Well, you know how long I keep movies when I borrow them.
I know, you know, me too as well. But
such a jackass that way.
I know. I'm not going anywhere. Neither are you. That's why I keep thinking about it. What other things? Oh yeah, one of my favorite parts about this movie was the part where Ash comes back and everyone's like praising him, and he knows he fucked up, and so he's like, "Come on, leave me alone, get out of here." And then he goes to that guy, "Get the fuck out of my face." That's not the same Ash from Evil Dead 2 or Evil Dead 1.
Right.
Like, it's totally a different Ash. 100% different guy. Like, where does the fucking wit come from? You didn't have that at all in Evil Dead 2 in Nobi's cabin.
Could you use a horse blanket?
Yeah, the way you fucking treated Sheila, your girl, you just murdered your girlfriend 2 days ago. You sawed her fucking head in two. and now you got this chick, and you're... Give me some sugar, baby. Yeah. I mean, seriously, the lines that they gave him.
I'm going to use that.
Give me some sugar, baby.
Yeah, the next time I'm in a steamy situation.
I mean,
it's going to be the line.
Let's say they took Ash from Evil Dead 2 and really put him through a portal where he landed in this one. He would not be this Ash. I don't think so. Yeah. I don't think he would be I don't think he would have the arrogance. Like, do you know what I just survived? I could do whatever the fuck I want. Like, that's kind of like the attitude he kept giving him. Like, I mean, again, the humor in it, I'm not dogging it whatsoever because I love the primitive screw heads.
It's great. Yeah, and I mean, it would have sucked if they just would have tried to redo the second one.
I mean, not redo the second one, but do it in the year 1300, basically, is what they could have done. But they took it in a whole other direction, and it's like, it's not as good if you watch Evil Dead 2 the day before. Like, if you watch it on a Sunday afternoon on the Sci-Fi Channel, do that. But don't watch Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness right afterwards. Yeah. Because you're not getting a fulfilled story whatsoever. Like, did Ash always work at S-Mart? Was that always a thing when he and Linda went to the cabin? Like, the impression is they're just two college kids on spring break squatting in some random professor's cabin. Yeah.
Do you think because he had that chainsaw in the axe that they kind of came up with that idea for Army of Darkness, the whole S-Mart thing?
You know, to be honest, I have no idea where the fuck that came from. Because when you think about where that shotgun came from, it came from Nobi's cabin, not S-Mart. But yet he's giving them all these fucking details and the price.
Double barrel, hair trigger.
Remington, cobalt steel, and a hair trigger. Yeah, how did he know that details? How did he know Nobi paid $109.95? Retails at about $109.95. With your S-Mart discount, 10% off.
That was a great part, though.
Which one? Oh, when he's he's describing the gun to him? Yeah, I love that part. I mean, again, this movie is fucking great, but it's no Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, I could watch it every few years and be happy.
I mean, I think I don't need to watch Army of Darkness ever again. I mean, and it's not because I didn't like it, but because I just don't need to. It's not... Yeah. Again, after watching Evil Dead 2, it's left the stale taste in my mouth. I'm done with Army of Darkness. It's great. It's awesome. I'll keep butchering those one-liners whenever, but I'll watch Evil Dead 2 10 more times before I watch Army of Darkness.
Sure. I agree.
Just because it's just a much superior movie. It's like way better.
I need to see Evil Dead now, though.
Yeah, you gotta sit down and watch that one. But yeah, I don't think.
Are we ever going to get around to all these movies we speak of?
Yeah, fuck yeah, we will. I'm
really excited for the Nightmare series. To be honest,
I'll be honest. I'm ready. I'm excited to finish fucking Puppet Master. Excuse me, I got a burp there. Which I have the hookup for the rest of the movies.
Nice.
This dude I know said he'll let me borrow them. But yeah, I'm excited to do all the Nightmares, and if they do another Army of Darkness. Or when they do. But yeah, I don't know.
What do they call it?
What will they call it? Army of Darkness. Even Darker. No, that's not good.
Yeah, Army of Darkness 2 is what they need to call it.
Or just simply Army of Darkness 2.
Yeah.
Or like Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead is not the number 2. It's the Roman numeral 2. Like every time you see it, it's Evil Dead, Roman numeral 2.
Yeah.
Let's see. Navy of Darkness. This time it's on the high seas. Like Ash ends up going through a portal in like, pirate era, and like Jack Sparrow somehow gets the Necronomicon and then raises the Army of the Dead again, but this time it's on boats. There you go. And he's a buccaneer, so it's kind of like, what was that Bruce Campbell show where he was a pirate? Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was like one of those one-season shows. I can't remember what it was called.
Sounds like it would be. Yeah.
Right? All of his shit is one-season shows, except for fucking Ash versus Evil Dead.
That's what makes him so great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The thing I wanted to tell you about High Fidelity is one of my favorite scenes from that movie is an Evil Dead 2 reference where the main dude is like talking to his girlfriend and she says she hasn't slept with his boyfriend yet, and he's trying to figure out what the word yet means in that context. So he goes to his friends and he's like, what does it mean when I say I haven't seen Evil Dead 2 yet? And in the book they talk about Reservoir Dogs because like one of the reference is, or one of the things that Jack Black says is about how the soundtrack kicks ass, and Evil Dead 2 didn't really have a soundtrack, but right. It did, Reservoir Dogs, and it kicked ass. Huh. So I always thought that was funny that they changed Reservoir Dogs to Evil Dead 2.
That is weird.
The other reference they made was about how he was going to use, how he's going to make ammunition in medieval times. And that's the other thing too. And it's like, you don't question that, but at the same time you do. Like, where the fuck do you keep getting these bullets from? Yeah. And then when they dig through the trunk of his car, just perfectly placed is a box of shells. Again, you got the gun from Nobi's cabin.
Yeah.
Did you just fucking have pockets full of fucking shells before you went through the portal?
Right.
I mean, they didn't change the story, but they changed the story. They changed small details that just really fucking bother me. Meanwhile, they keep great details when Ash is going through he's being sucked in through the book and his arms being stretched out. You can see the straps for his mechanical hand. Like, that's fucking details. But we're supposed to believe that he has an unlimited supply of fucking shotgun shells.
The infection that would have taken hold in his arm at this point too would have.
Well, he cut it off before it spread. I mean, that's how he went in his hand. It went bad, and he lopped it off at the wrist. But how did Sheila survive? He fucking skewered her and threw her off the top of a fucking castle.
Yeah.
And then Evil Ash dies, and somehow she's still alive.
Yeah.
No, Ash is destined to not only fight the Army of Darkness, but also kill his girlfriends. I was going to say he's Brian, whatever that dude's name is. Laundry. One of the things in the video game that kind of fills that gap of like, how does he get these modern technology in like, you know, outside of time, is when you have the chainsaw, you can only use it if it has gas, which is a fucking amazing detail again. But in order to make gas, you have to find these specific mushrooms, and you have to have a gas can as well. I mean, again, fucking awesome. Like the whole time I'm watching Evil Dead 2, I'm like, this is just like a video game. Like, we got to get the 5 pages underneath the cellar. And then you have to gear up to go in the cellar because you're not high enough level.
Right.
And in this one, it's just like a video game too, where it's like you have to make the bombs, you have to make the bullets, and you have to fucking go after the book, and you have to say these certain words in a sequence. One of man, I could just go off on the video games too, which was really fun. In Fistful of Boomsticks, they added magic, and you had to say the words in a certain pattern, which is like, you know, press the buttons in a certain pattern. And if you fuck up, it's so funny because he'd be like, necktie, and then like electrocutes himself.
Were these games across all consoles, or were these PC games, or what were these?
I believe there was a PC game, but Bow to the King was on the first PlayStation, and then Fistful of Boomsticks was PlayStation and Xbox, and Regeneration was PlayStation and Xbox. I mean, they really kept the great story. Like, Bow to the King, he had to go back to the cabin, you know, for something. You know, I left my keys there or something, and accidentally wakes up the dead. Like the tape recorder plays itself, and then Regeneration, which was the last one they did, he was in an insane asylum because of all this shit made him crazy. Kind of like the psychic from Puppet Master 2. We don't know how he got there. We just know he's there. And the doctor, like the main guy, has the Necronomicon, and he keeps doing experiments on patients. And he successfully combined a deadite and a human. And so, like surgically. And so your sidekick is this little deadite guy that you keep throwing around all over the place. And like you have to control him once in a while to go into small corners. But it's voiced by Sam Raimi's brother, which is really cool.
Cool.
Who also was Henrietta when she was a deadite.
Yeah, I would definitely play like, Evil Dead video game on the GameCube in the style of Resident Evil 4.
Oh, I think it was on the GameCube too, to be
really?
honest. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. You would play Resident Evil 4 as like if I was Ash, and you're just like dropping fucking one-liners whenever you're killing something. That was one of the cool things too about the first one on the PlayStation, was like you had a taunt button. And so Ash would say one-liners to deadites, and one of the lines was, "Say hi to Disco for me." And it was voiced by Bruce Campbell, so it was like fucking delivered perfectly.
Nice.
Which, I mean, that's his thing, is fucking one-liners.
Yeah.
Do you think they used that like cutscene montage of them building his glove, and then doing the bombs, and then working on the car? You think they did that a little too much? Forgot about chainsawing Evil Ash as well.
Right. I don't know. I feel like they did quite a bit too much in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, the first Evil Dead 2 had that like when he's putting the chainsaw on his hand. They did that in that, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the first Evil Dead, I believe he put one of them on the table and was like covering them with chains to saw them.
Him jumping up to the chainsaw on this one was great.
I mean, it was fucking bright. It was so cool. It was like Masters of the Universe. Like,
oh, there it is.
Yeah, but look how high he jumped.
The movie has begun.
You're right. It's like almost this is where it finally starts getting better. How high did he fucking jump? He could have jumped that high, grabbed that fucking chain instead of using his belt as like a whoosh, as a whip to get up there.
I don't remember what one of the demon ladies had, but she was holding it up.
That cauldron.
Getting ready to smash it on that chick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Uh-huh.
It was just funny the amount of time she waited before Ash could get up and say whatever he said.
I got to go get my gun. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
He said, yo, she bitch. Let's go.
That's right.
In the video game,
Come get some.
He said, yo, tree bitch, because he had to fight this possessed tree.
Huh. Nice.
Which I still don't get how the possession in these movies work. Do you get possessed when they touch you? Do you get possessed when you get covered in blood? Why is Ash immune to it? I mean, like I said before, it makes sense because he's like, prophesized to do this. So it's like he's the only one powerful enough to defeat the Deadites. So he wouldn't get possessed as easily, but it's like it doesn't make sense to me.
None of it makes sense.
And why the fuck am I trying to make sense of this movie? Like, you're not fucking supposed to. Like, that's almost the thing about Army of Darkness and Evil Dead. You're not supposed to make sense of these movies.
No.
But I want to. I want to rationalize this shit. Again, the Evil Dead 2 is such a great horror movie.
Yeah.
Even with the groovy, even with some of the I mean, he wasn't dropping one-liners to any of them.
Yeah. Well, no, it was great because of the comedy too. I mean, it wasn't just a great horror movie, it was a great horror movie because of the comedy as well. That's what made it so great. Didn't
he seem so exhausted? All of this shit just kept going and kept happening to him, and he just could not stop. He had to persevere. I swear, dude, that scene of the mounted heads laughing, I mean, that was funny, but also fucking terrifying.
When was the last time you watched Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness back to back, right after
never,
one another?
Never done that.
Never?
Never.
I'm just wondering the way you looked. You said Evil Dead 2 was 1998. Right? Or
no,
I'm sorry.
88.
1988.
Yeah, 88.
This one's 93, so 5 years.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the scene comparison there at the end of 2 and the beginning of Army of Darkness.
I mean, I could see it when I close my eyes.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. I mean, you can really see the difference. Also, the way that it was shot, too. Camera angles, lighting, so different. Like that one was standard. This one was HD. Yeah. That's the way it looks to me. But no, Ash looked so much older in Evil Dead 2. Because when the rift opens, did you notice how his hair turned white? Mm-hmm. Like on the sides, like Reed Richards styles? He doesn't have that in this. So he looked so much older in Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
At the end. In the beginning, he looked like a little baby.
Right.
In comparison to this.
Yeah.
This is a seasoned actor. This is like, I just did Maniac Cop. I was in Darkman.
He's a good-looking guy. That's for sure.
Bruce Campbell?
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. He is. Especially like back in the day. I mean, he still is now. He
busted through the door right now. Was like, come get some.
Give me some
you
sugar.
Go get some.
Give me some sugar, Chatty. That's just what we call pillow talk, baby. Yeah, seriously, I do love the one-liners in this. But if I had to choose Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness, I'm Evil Dead 2 all the way.
Oh, yeah.
And I wasn't that way before.
Really?
Yeah, because like I said, I've only seen Evil Dead 2 maybe once or twice, but I've seen Army of Darkness like 15 times. So it's like always imprinted in my mind that Ash, Army of Darkness. But man, watching Evil Dead 2 with different eyes yesterday, way fucking better movie. Way better. And not just because it's different. I think it's just better because it's like
better.
Yeah, I mean, these dudes had passion when they were making this movie, and it's like they still had passion with this. And I'm not saying Sam Raimi didn't or Bruce Campbell didn't, but like, I mean, you can see they were making a movie for fun, while this one was work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the first one was all practical effects too.
Yeah.
Presumably, and this one was, you could tell, you could see it. When they weren't using practical effects, it was...
And the skeletons are standing still waiting to get hit by the windmill.
Yeah.
I never liked that as a kid either. Like, well, I was a teenager. What did you think of the Deadites in this one compared to, say, Henrietta and Ed in Evil Dead 2?
Again, so much different.
Right? Like
the way you feel when you're watching it.
Yeah. Yeah, these are corny. These are so corny. Evil Ash is so fucking corny. But man, Henrietta, when she fucking comes out of that cellar and she's just like,
I mean, had my 9-year-old watched this last night instead of Evil Dead 2,
exactly,
she would have
laughed.
Eaten her ice cream. I can tell you that. It's funny. I ate it. I left that part out. I'm like, you can eat the rest of that, and then I took it down myself.
Cover it with chocolate syrup, being like, huh? Yeah.
Can't let that shit melt.
It's like that coming out of that wall, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, this didn't have any of that. The fucking geyser of blood was all you get, really.
Yeah.
It's few scratches on Ash's face.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There were, some of them looked scary, but there was just so much cheese thrown in that it was hard to take it seriously. Whereas in Evil Dead 2, it was just enough to where it was still, I mean, parts of it frightened me.
Yeah, dude, totally. I mean, if I didn't know what was coming, I'd be fucking terrified too.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh my God, Herman, come lay next to me.
Yeah. Yeah, my daughter wanted me to sleep next to her last night, but what she didn't realize is I was scared too. So I needed that.
We'll be
comfort.
We'll be sleep buddies. Thank you.
I guess you can. Just tonight.
Yeah, this Army of Darkness is a kids movie. Evil Dead 2's parents movie.
Yeah,
that's it.
It's a good way to look at it.
Wonder what people have to say about it who really fucking hated it.
I bet there's a lot.
Not really. No, you'd really be surprised. Army of Dark. See, IMDb says 1992. And apparently this synopsis, this plot, a sardonic hardware store clerk. I don't think he was a hardware store clerk. I think he was a big box store employee.
Didn't he say housewares too?
Yeah, housewares. Yeah.
Ash.
So there's
housewares.
14 ones. And I'm so surprised how early these are too. This isn't like some kid ironically hating it from last year. These are fucking people. This is from 1999, and it's called A Disappointment. I couldn't get into this movie at all. How the character Ash was twisted from the caring and penitent, albeit reluctant hero from the first two movies to the egomaniacal waste of flesh in Army of Darkness was never really explained. Totally.
Fuck out of my way.
I mean, but it's not enough to give it a 1. It's just a different guy.
It's different.
Look at John McClane from the first Die Hard in the first moments where he's trying to get the cops. He wanted to stay out of it altogether, and then all of a sudden, 2, 3, he's the same guy from the end of Die Hard, where he's just like, I've been through this shit and I'm sick of it. And
if anything, that's the comedy in this one that works is his ego,
totally. Yeah, to get the fuck out of my face.
Yeah,
you ain't leading anything. The fuck's that line? You're not leading anything but 2 things: Jack and shit. Jack just left. Whatever. I fucked that up.
Try again.
Try
it again. Try it again. Go.
You ain't leading.
Cut. We're trying it again.
You ain't leading anything. You ain't. I don't even remember exactly how the line goes.
Give it a sec.
Okay.
Take a breather.
You ain't leading anything but 2 things: Jack and shit.
Yeah.
Jack just left town.
Yeah.
I don't even know these assholes. Yeah, his fucking ego's awesome. In all seriousness, his love for his girlfriend saved him from becoming a monster, which was awesome. That's what I thought was rad. Yet somehow, less than a week later, he's having one-night stands and acting smug while brushing off his lover. The film suffers from several such continuity plot holes, which seems to have been torn into the script in order to accommodate one-liners and mindless slapstick. Slapstick in a horror film?
Yeah, and we all grieve in different ways.
Yeah, he's going into the arms of another.
Yeah,
sorry.
It's not like he comfort.
It's not like he forgot Linda. He's a fucking hero.
Yeah.
He knows it because the book told him he was going to be a hero.
He had his hand chopped off, not his dick. Cut the guy. Break.
Yeah, exactly. Where is the feel of impending evil from the first movie, or the humorous subtleties interwoven into the second film? Gone, along with all hopes of the series being continued as long as the original script intended. One would assume that a horror movie's creators would be shamed to admit that George Romero's original Night of the Living Dead and, in fact, Jim Henson's The Dark Crystal are both more frightening and cerebral than their own poorly contrived attempt.
Whew.
Or your attempt at using big words and fucking me
wordy.
over. Yeah, I mean, I feel the same, but not enough to give it a fucking 1. Enough to appreciate the one-liners and the ego-ness of Ash. Yeah, like
1.
Who the fuck are you? Oh, this is a good one. This is another number 1 from 2003. Fun for youngsters, but not for me.
And hold on, if that guy's giving it a 1,
yeah,
what do you think he's giving Puppet Master to?
Oh,
a 1? I mean, are these in the same?
The same, right? Yeah, exactly. Is it in the same category? Like, I would give Puppet Master 2 a 1. I would not give which is why we're going to go into the 6s after this, because that's what we both agreed on, is that this movie is a 6. This is the last 1 out of 10 that I'll do. Fun for youngsters, but not for me.
Nice.
I expected this movie to be good because of the high ratings on IMDb, but I will try my best to take them down. Oh, yes, I will. That is quite the mission, because that ain't ever going to happen. This movie lacks any form of intelligence, and the storyline is just crap. The one-liners of the leading character obviously aim at younger viewers or at people who are mentally challenged. Way to attack the fucking community because people like, give me some sugar, baby. I mean, what is the best thing about action movies, right? One-liners.
Mm-hmm.
I think they used them pretty well in this.
Yeah. It's not because they're cerebral or there's some fucking intricate story that you've got to follow.
Also, what's wrong with not thinking when you're watching a movie?
Yeah.
The special effects are pretty good at times, although the mere bone army of darkness, clay figures, transform into a flesh and transfer into a flesh and bone army, quote unquote, actors in several face-to-face action scenes. Probably this is cost reducing, but somewhere it insults the viewer's intelligence. Now, I think we all know what we're getting into when we watch a movie called Army of Darkness. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, they're fucking standing there getting chopped. This is a low budget movie. I'm pretty sure that teenagers can enjoy this movie whilst picking their nose and lurking at beer cans, which beer cans is one word. So let's go back to the mentally challenged group who likes this movie. For me, however, it was a big waste of time. I rate this movie 1 out of 10. Couldn't give me a 0. Well, you helped knock that movie down a peg for yourself. Nobody gives a fuck. I hope somehow this person who wrote this review comes across this episode and is like, hey, stop attacking me. I'm not mentally challenged. Beer can is one word. So how many number 6s do you want me to read?
Read.
There's some small ones. There's some long ones. There's some medium ones.
Read medium one.
All right, medium one. A tongue-in-cheek film for Evil Dead crowd. 2006. This is the third and final installment of the Evil Dead series. Like the second in the series, it was filled with campy humor. With director Sam Raimi, you know it's done with a lot of tongue-in-cheek, and it's not totally tongue-in-cheek. If not totally tongue-in-cheek. If not, it would have to be classified as one of the all-time dumbest movies ever made.
Hey, yeah.
For sure. For sure. If it weren't the language, Bruce Campbell in the lead provides lots of profanity. If it weren't for the language, what? Fuck, bitch, asshole, and shit. That's it. That's the only 4 things he said in that movie, profanity wise. This would be a film little kids would love with all the nonstop action and Three Stooges like slapstick humor. The violence is so prevalent, it just gets too much, and the film is only 80 minutes long. The humor helps take off some of the edge of the violence. Did you feel like massive amount of violence in this movie?
I mean, I didn't feel the way he just felt.
I know. Like, what would this person say about the scene from Monty Python when Lancelot runs in to save that person that he thought was a damsel in distress and kills the entire fucking wedding party? What would they have to say about that? Oh, the violence. If it weren't for the humor. Where was I at? What you have is medieval horror comedy film with Campbell fighting an army of skeletons, a la Jason and the Agronauts. Yeah, that's true. You know, the claymation, the stupid roundhouse kick that the burnt up evil Ash did. I always thought that was funny. Campbell is the best at making goofy faces. Embeth Davids provides the romantic interest. Oh, Sheila. That's it. That's it for that review. Here's someone who took the time in 2021 as if we needed a fresh take on a 6 out of 10. A fun horror comedy with very entertaining weirdness, but to me it doesn't offer anything special, and I think Evil Dead 2 was way better than this. Even if this had some humor, some funnier scenes. Overall, a good movie, but doesn't hold up to the first movies. That was written September 4th, 2021, so only like 2 months ago. Did you pre-plan this? Because that's exactly how we felt. And you know, again, this movie will always have a special place in my heart because my dad likes it, so it's one that we can watch, but I know he would not like Evil Dead 2. I know he would be like, he'd watch it to humor me, but then fall asleep during it.
Sure.
And he's the guy who introduced me to this kind of shit.
My dad fell asleep during 12 Monkeys at the movie theater.
Really? I never saw 12 Monkeys.
What?
Yeah, I knew that was going to pull that out of you. Never saw 12 Monkeys.
Wow. Huh.
One I should go down to and watch?
I think so.
Yeah.
I like 12 Monkeys. Although it's got some of that nostalgia for me because I saw it with my dad in the movie theater, so I get a little bit of that when I watch it. You know?
That's how I feel about RoboCop 2. You know, I had to go to the doctor. No joke.
Got to be something about RoboCop 2, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Sure.
But, yeah, I went to the doctor when I was a kid. I missed school. My dad took me to the doctor, and then he took me to go see RoboCop 2.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's, you know, even though that movie is so fucking, like, terrible, it's not like RoboCop 3, but RoboCop 2 is pretty bad. But I'll watch it because of that, like, memory of going to the movie theater with my dad and watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just kind of like one of the outings that we did together. Feel like you said everything you wanted to say?
I doubt it.
I know, right? I'm going to come up with like, oh man, fuck, I forgot about that scene. Why didn't I bring that up?
Well, that's why I brought up when we were watching this one. I'm like, oh yeah, something happened in this one where he couldn't get something off of him, and I thought it was going to be that same thing where they would go an extended amount of time, but they didn't. However, it reminded me of that scene in the second one with
the hand.
Yeah.
God, I love Evil Dead 2 so much more now than I ever did. So much more.
Yeah, I can say I love it. Yeah,
Army of Darkness, you're great.
I liked Evil Dead 2 10 times more than I expected to like Evil Dead 2.
That's awesome. I mean, especially knowing how old it is, and sometimes going into an older movie when you're older, it's kind of like, you know, am I going to enjoy this? Is it something that's going to keep my interest? But like,
not once in that movie was I like, oh, those fucking special effects. It was all good. It all worked. I mean, every single bit of it. And this one, it's like every few minutes you see something that's just a little off.
Yeah, right.
That takes away from the enjoyment.
The first one of the scenes that I forgot to bring up in Evil Dead 2 was when Bobby Joe's running through the woods and she's screaming bloody fucking murder, and then all of a sudden stops.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Did I get away? And then the fucking trees start up on her.
Yeah.
God, that fucking scene where they just the trees are pulling her.
Yeah.
So fucking cool.
It's good.
All right. Well, thank you for listening. So the audio that we lost, we may have caught with the camcorder. So stick around, and there will be some pretty bad audio of fun things.
So.
That we
I hope
discussed.
we caught it. Mike is very concerned about this missing audio.
You know, I'm really glad.
He's here for you fans.
I'm glad the things that we talked about, you and I got to talk about, and it was a lot of fun. But it was a lot of good stuff that I feel like would be good for the episode.
Our 13 subscribers are going to be disappointed if we don't get that
even if you
audio out there.
if you touch one person, we possess them, according to the Necronomicon. All right, everybody, thanks for listening.
Come get some.
Give me some sugar, baby.